Y'all, this episode was heavy. From season 4, episode 3 doesn't just push the mystery forward, it completely crushes whatever little hope the town had left. Everybody feels broken, paranoid, emotionally drained, and by the end of the episode, even Boyd looks like he's starting to lose his grip on reality. And honestly, this may have been one of the darkest episodes of the entire series so far. Right from the beginning, the tension already feels wrong. Fatima walks into the kitchen and sees Elgin sitting there, and immediately both of them start talking about getting their story straight after everything that happened last season. And the energy between them? Off, like they both know way more than they're admitting. There's this uncomfortable feeling that something bigger is being hidden, especially after everything involving Fatima's disturbing pregnancy storyline and the chaos surrounding Smiley's return. Nothing about this conversation feels normal. Meanwhile, Boyd is struggling mentally in a major way. He's having dreams about past events, replaying old trauma in his head, and it's clearly starting to wear him down. Boyd eventually visits La Costa, and the interaction immediately feels emotionally loaded. The show never outright says she reminds him of Abby, but it's heavily implied through the way Boyd talks to her and watches her behavior. La Costa is clearly struggling mentally after arriving in town, desperately trying to make sense of everything, and Boyd seems deeply unsettled by it. You can feel him seeing pieces of Abby in her, especially the desperation, the need to solve the impossible. And considering what happened to Abby, it's obvious Boyd is terrified of watching someone else go down that same path. Boyd has spent years trying to save everyone else while slowly falling apart himself. Then the episode gets dark. The townspeople are preparing the preacher for his funeral, but before it happens, Sofia asks to spend time alone with the body. And this scene is nightmare fuel, because while she's alone with him, she literally pulls one of his teeth out. Yeah, that happened. And it only reinforces the terrifying feeling that Sofia isn't really Sofia anymore. The man in yellow's influence around her feels stronger every episode, and every interaction she has now carries this creepy energy like she knows far more than everyone else. At the same time, Jade is still obsessing over the symbols and the meaning behind everything happening in town. Boyd catches him deep in investigation mode, and honestly, Jade looks like he's one bad day away from completely snapping. But the scary thing? Jade might actually be getting closer to the truth. And in this town, learning too much usually comes with consequences. Then we move into the funeral scene. Everybody gathers around the gravesite, and the hopelessness hanging over the town feels suffocating. And then the crows arrive. A massive swarm circles above the funeral, almost like the town itself is reacting to Jim's death. It doesn't feel natural. It feels intentional, like the town, or whatever controls it, is watching. Even the dinner afterward feels emotionally drained. People aren't really living anymore. They're surviving minute to minute. Meanwhile, Ethan asks to go with Victor while Julie continues dealing with Sofia's strange, antagonizing behavior. And Sofia keeps giving off this unsettling vibe like she's quietly studying everyone around her, like she's waiting for something. Fatima and Ellis then head into the woods so Fatima can release stress, but even this scene feels tense, because nothing in these woods is ever peaceful. Every conversation outside the town feels like it could turn dangerous at any second. Then Ethan and Victor begin searching for the mysterious Lake of Tears. And honestly, this might be one of the most important storylines in the episode. After what Ethan experienced with his father, he becomes deeply focused on finding the lake. He believes it matters, even if he doesn't fully understand why yet. But instead of wandering off alone, Ethan turns to Victor for help. That detail matters, because Victor is the one person in town who has survived long enough to carry memories of what happened before. Ethan approaches things with belief and curiosity, while Victor carries fear and trauma connected to the town's past. The two of them searching together feels intentional. And while Ethan never directly says over and over that the Lake of Tears will save everyone, the episode definitely implies he sees it as something important, possibly healing, possibly connected to answers, or maybe even escape itself. Victor clearly senses the weight behind it too. which makes their journey feel less like a random adventure and more like they're being pulled towards something the town has been hiding for a very long time. At the same time, Tabitha becomes fully obsessed with finding the lighthouse again after discovering the drawing connected to it. She's convinced the lighthouse is the key to getting home. And honestly, it's starting to feel like she's willing to risk anything to reach it. Julie and Randall are also trying to get answers, researching dream walking through books and old clues. And the fact that dream walking is now a serious investigation topic tells you how completely insane this town has become. Nobody is questioning whether impossible things exist anymore. Now they're trying to understand how they work. Back near the woods, Ethan and Victor eventually find Jade laid out near a lake. For a second, it feels important. But Ethan quickly realizes this isn't the real Lake of Tears and tells Victor they need to leave. Still, the scene feels significant because Victor suggests maybe Jade can help them figure things out, hinting that Jade's obsession with the symbols may eventually connect directly to Ethan's visions and the mystery surrounding the lake. Then we get another uncomfortable moment between Sofia and Kenny inside the church while discussing where Sofia should stay. And honestly, nobody fully trusts her. Even Kenny seems uneasy around her now, but Sofia pushes to stay with Sarah, which somehow feels even more dangerous considering Sarah's history with the town's darker forces. Meanwhile, Boyd takes LaCosta to a storage area filled with belongings from previous residents. And this scene was honestly one of the smartest moments in the episode. For once, somebody is trying to investigate the town like an actual crime scene instead of just surviving day by day. Boyd wants LaCosta to analyze patterns, clues, and evidence like a real detective, which might finally be the kind of thinking this town needs. Then Tabitha goes looking for Donna, but instead finds Henry. She explains that she's determined to find the lighthouse and get everyone home. Henry agrees to help her, and together they realize they need to find one of the faraway trees again. And that leads to one of the creepiest moments in the episode. Victor suddenly sees something horrifying in the woods. We never fully see what he sees, but whatever it is completely destroys him emotionally. Victor becomes so terrified he literally pees on himself before running away. And honestly, that reaction says more than words ever could. This wasn't a normal vision. This felt like trauma returning. Like Victor recognized something connected to the town's worst past events. Later, Sofia and Kenny head to Sarah's house because Sofia wants to stay there now, which honestly sounds like the worst possible idea, especially knowing what Sofia may really be. At the same time, Fatima and Elgin are collecting dirt for some unknown reason. The show still hasn't fully explained where this storyline is heading, but it definitely feels important. And with this series, the weirdest details usually matter most later. Then we finally reach one of the biggest scenes in the episode. Henry and Tabitha arrive at the bottle tree when suddenly, the boy in white appears. Tabitha immediately asks him why he's there, but his response? Cold. He tells her that's the wrong question. Instant chills. Then Tabitha asks if the tree can take her home, and he simply says, no. That one word completely destroys her hope, because for the first time, it feels like even the supernatural forces connected to the town are admitting escape may not be possible. Then Henry and Tabitha find Victor curled up on the ground crying, broken, terrified, and clearly reliving something horrible from his past. But the episode saves its most horrifying moment for the end. Boyd stands alone at Abby's grave grieving, emotionally exhausted and desperate for answers. And then suddenly, a hand bursts out from the grave. It grabs Boyd and starts pulling him underground. And that's how the episode ends. No explanation, no answers, just pure nightmare fuel. This episode made one thing painfully clear. Nobody in this town gets peace. Not the living, not the dead, and definitely not Boyd.